slamming doors, rips in the seats, broken parts, as well as licking doorknobs is what you're going to find at your typical auto show. And Stellantis has elected to actually make a corporate decision here recently. Word has it that they've pulled all participation in local automotive shows. The decision comes at a very difficult time when Stellantis is one of the bottom feeders. Clearly, when Ford is up and they're selling the most mid-sized pickup trucks that you can find across the market, they've had a successful year. GM has also had a record year, outpacing Toyota for maximum sales with a lot of their great sales in Buick and stepping those programs up, bulk sales, pickup trucks. They've had a fabulous year and they're leading the charge for overall sales, even with the supply chain challenges that they've seen over the last couple of years. So of the top three, the one that stands out is Stellantis, which is essentially the owner of Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge, and they're not doing very well this year, thank you very much. It doesn't take very long to walk down the aisles of the local Dodge or Ram dealership and finding rows and rows and rows of pickup trucks and Jeeps that just are not selling. Clearly they're out to lunch, and a lot of their sales attempts to pitch a lot of their vehicles has missed the mark. Their prices of their Jeeps have escalated to the point where we're in six figures. Their pickup trucks just don't offer a competitive advantage, and quite frankly, the incentives just weren't there at the time it was needed. So what's going on here lately with this car shows? Stellantis spokesperson Luann Gosselin actually quotes, "With a focus on preserving fundamental business to mitigate the impact of a challenging automotive market in North America, Stellantis is working at optimizing its market strategy as it relates to the auto shows." Now clearly there's been a lot of automotive manufacturers that have made different decisions along the way, and we've seen it from time to time where one year this manufacturer is there at the car show and the next year they're not. Obviously, a lot of the real estate at a lot of these big venues cost a lot of money, and Stellantis, while they're behind the eight ball, haven't been making the revenue that they believe they should have. And clearly, the decision to actually put funding in towards taking up real estate and parking some of their vehicles in local car shows is questionable. Are they getting the bang for their buck? Now what they're saying is basically, to be as efficient as possible, we are encouraging our dealers to use a case-by-case basis in determining whether or not they want participation at a local car show. For example, if you go to Toronto, the local Toronto dealerships have the decision that they can make personally whether they want to actually fund that opportunity and park their Jeeps or trucks at that local car show. Meantime, you go over to Vancouver and they might be a decision not to do the same thing. Now, Gosselin, the head of communications, has literally said that the Toronto group has elected to actually participate and fund it at their own basis. With that said, Gosselin didn't openly admit whether they'd be participating in the Detroit Auto Show or not, and that's clearly one of the biggest car shows that you just generally don't want to miss. That's where all the latest and the greatest, the biggest and the baddest and the newest of every car manufacturer and what they have to offer and showcase. Now you ask yourself, why aren't they going to spend the money? It seems like it's value add, because the more you put a vehicle in somebody's face, the more likely they're all to, interesting, I might need to buy one of those. But the fact remains, since the UAW strike, it has hit Stellantis particularly hard, and they're still licking their wounds in terms of the upgrades and raises that they've actually thrown at the UAW strike workers on both sides of the border, both Canada and US. And as well, we can't forget about the multi-billion-dollar investment going into the battery plant to support the EV future in Windsor, Ontario. As well, Joe McCabe, president and CEO of Auto Forecast Solutions, actually says that the relevancy just quite isn't there anymore to present a lot of their new technology and vehicles at these automotive shows. As a matter of fact, a lot of manufacturers are electing to showcase some of their new technology as a lot of vehicles are becoming more automated, electrification's coming into play, and they're actually more promoting a lot of their products at the CES shows. I mean, after all, floor space is very expensive, and the decision is actually to focus more on the innovation, the design, and improvement of the technology rather than on some of this marketing where you're having people slamming doors, kids slobbering on the seats, doorknobs ripped off, and parts being damaged at these local car shows. So the decision, whether they want to participate, whether they don't, and whether the big three are all in on or not, so far it looks like it's all being held very close to the chest. Ford isn't really saying GM's not really saying, but Ford and GM have had spectacular years, so it's like chump change to throw some money down on extra marketing dollars, and it might be worth it for them. Unfortunately, Stellantis is going to have to find different ways to manage sales of their vehicles. Clearly with improved incentives, reductions in MSRP costs, as well as throw-in extras, for example, like gap insurance, paint protection film, floor mats, are the little things that might be what they believe is what it's going to take to get people in the door, but the car show is a decision to walk away from by Stellantis for this particular year. So I'd love to hear more on your thoughts. Whether you think this is a win, a fail, is this a good marketing strategy, or do you think this is just signs of the future of what Stellantis, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler have in store? I mean, clearly it's showing that they're suffering, and yes, while they've made mass profits, the tables have turned, and clearly there's a little bit of bring it back home, grassroots approach, and clearly they don't necessarily have the spend at this time to throw at some frivolous parking lot exposure. Love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Be sure to check out that video. That's clearly what's going on and why the collapse of the truck market. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. We'll see you all real soon. Bye-bye.